UHSA administration, fellow graduates, ladies and gentlemen. I'm very humbled to speak to all of you today. I thank this great university for providing not only young people an opportunity to fulfill their dream of becoming medical doctors, but also those like me who almost of the age where one would normally have their first experience with an intimate interlude called a colonoscopy. I will be forever grateful to the UHSA as well as to my family and friends, those who supported me during some very challenging times and those whose belief in me never wavered. Thank you so very much. I would like to tell you a story about a guy who will be hosting a party on New Year's Day. The weeks prior to the party, he had studied very hard, preparing for some very difficult exams in subjects such as physiology and neuroscience. During those exams, he noticed a small nodule on the side of his neck. Initially, he thought nothing of it, but as it grew larger, he could think of nothing else. Before his guests are supposed to arrive for the big party, festive feelings are considerably consumed by overwhelming concern. He darts off to the local emergency room. After a barrage of tests that lasted over 2 hours, a doctor comes to the room and tells him, "I'm very sorry, but you have cancer. It looks like lymphoma, but we need to run more tests." He submerges in shock. His entire life passes in front of his eyes. He sees images of his loved ones. He sees images of moments that shaped his life. He sees images of moments he had hoped would grace his life in the future. Finally, he sees images of his devastated loved ones mourning his loss. Through a fog of disbelief, dismay, and despair, he somehow makes his way home. He hugs his family and he desperately does not want to let them go. He cancels this party. He spends the next days on the internet, frantically searching for the best doctors, frantically searching for the latest research, frantically searching for hope. He feels fortunate to be able to make an appointment with a widely published doctor that is reputed to be the best lymphoma specialist in the world. Hope is now around the corner. He visits the doctor. After the doctor's assistants perform their due diligence and perform the appropriate clinical exams, the doctor finally comes to the room with the results. "Well, you have Hodgkin's lymphoma. You will need to do chemo for 6 months. Do you have any questions?" he asks abruptly. The fog of disbelief, dismay, and despair comes back. And the first thing that comes in mind is, well, am I going to lose my hair? Before he finishes his question, the doctor interrupts him again, and he replies, "Well, you're going to lose it all." Perhaps a very learned expert of lymphocytes, but no genius of the heart, the doctor walks away, slamming the door behind him as he leaves the room before the patient has a chance to say anything else. He feels like A tornado has ripped his world apart beyond recognition. His devastation manifests itself for several minutes through a tsunami of tears. How dare he treated him in this heartless manner? Fragments of his hope are scattered all over the hospital floor. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry to have strayed away from a celebratory mood that everybody has, but I'm very, very happy to report that this story has a very happy ending. Not only did the guy with the Hodgkin's lymphoma find another very competent, more compassionate doctor to care for him, not only did he not lose all of his hair, but today, 7 years after the initial diagnosis and armed with a very good prognosis, I am standing in front of you receiving my degree in medicine. If anyone needs a wig, I bought one after my initial diagnosis, but I never used it. See me after the ceremony. Those very dark pages in my life were actually an amazing awakening for me. That horrible experience made me realize that attending famous universities, high grades, and top USMLE scores may make you the best diagnostician or perhaps the best researcher, but for sure they do not make you the best doctor. To become the best doctor, you must also have compassion, understanding, and empathy for the patient. Empathy for a human being in front of you who has feelings and a soul just like you do. A legend in medicine, affectionately known as the caring doctor, the wonderfully talented and compassionate Dr. Francis Peabody, once said, "The treatment of a disease may be entirely impersonal, yet the care of a patient must be completely personal. Doctors who regularly offer a calm voice, a comforting shoulder, or a sympathetic ear have a greater ability to vaccinate their patients from extended periods of physical pain or mental anguish than those who don't." You might say that showing empathy and compassion is sometimes difficult when faced with exhausting work schedules, sleep deprivation, and a constant flow of sick and dying patients. But I ask you, doesn't this stress pale in comparison to the patient who has just been told he has a possible terminal disease and wonders what will become of his wife and children if he dies? Or the patient who has just lost the function of all of her limbs and wonders how she will pay her suffocating stack of bills? Or a child who inflicts inordinate physical pain upon himself to rid himself of an endless cycle of emotional abuse he has suffered at the hands of unrelenting bullies. Fellow graduates, during our future interactions with patients, there will be times where we'll need to put our stethoscopes away, to put our patient charts down, to put off simply writing a prescription. Instead, we will need to look at the person in front of us, not just as a number, not just as a social security number, not just as a statistic, but as a human deserving respect and dignity. Another human just like us who will want to feel from us compassion, empathy, understanding, and hope. For most, this will happen later, For some, it will unfortunately happen sooner, but we will all die. When the time comes for me, in just a few minutes before I'm ready to go, I will want to feel that I made a difference in some people's lives, that I managed to help some people find relief instead of pain, compassion instead of arrogance, hope instead of desperation. And while I don't know all of you very well, something tells me that I'm not alone in feeling this way. Our individual futures will be riddled with special challenges and opportunities along with their unique stresses and pressures. However, my wish is that we will all be united by a strong desire to create a world of hope, a world of empathy and understanding, a world of compassion. Thank you very much and congratulations.